Hey guys, this is Chauncey from Session Stories, and today we're hanging out with Camp Blue, a band that blends emotional gut punches with the kind of energy you'd find during golden hour skate park hangs. They've got a nostalgic sound that feels like driving too fast with the windows down. Also, be sure to check out their latest single, I Don't Know Why, out now, and we're so stoked to have them on the show, so welcome.
Hello.
So yeah, jumping into it, your latest release, I Don't Know Why. So it definitely feels like it's teetering between like running from something and maybe trying to understand where things went wrong. So like what was your thought process or like the mentality when you wrote this song?
Well, I mean, I Don't Know Why, funny enough, came together pretty fast. We write a lot of our music now together, and Dan was supposed to be in the call today with us. He's our guitarist. He's like a whiz on the computer with like engineering and stuff. But I think we all deal in the group with a lot of, not to sound like cliche, but we're very anxious. Like we get overstimulated so quickly. And we've kind of, I guess, used the theme of those things can get in the way of relationships, whether that be like, you know, an intimate relationship or just even with like a friend. You know, you always come off like, oh, he's such, like he's never around. He leaves quickly, you know, Irish goodbyes left and right, you know, things like that. So then the whole basis of the song where the beat had started and it just kind of made itself. But then when we started writing, it was kind of based on the fact of like people assume that, for lack of better words, that you're kind of selfish.
Yeah.
But it's just the fact that you don't really want to explain like exactly what's going on. Like, you know, even though we're at dinner right now, I need to like leave. I just can't, like, you know, it's hard to explain when you're in that situation to others. And then, you know, we normally don't, at least I don't personally think people would understand, or I almost think it comes off like a burden. So I kind of make those weird scenarios where like, I'll be like, oh man, like I gotta go, or blah, blah, blah. I hate being put in a situation where I have to like ride that out. So it's kind of like based on escapism. I was just trying to tap into like a song that could give off the lyricism of escapism.
Yeah. I'm definitely a fan of Irish goodbyes as well, and I don't want to have to explain things. So totally understand. And then, so you also came out with a music video, which is super sick. So the music video, it has like these skating shots, and there's definitely like a lo-fi feel that gives like strong early 2000s skate park nostalgia. Yeah. So were there any references or like memories that you were channeling when you guys put together the music video?
I almost wish there was like a more in-depth explanation on the music video. It's just, I feel like we all always got in our heads for pushing out content. I think that's just like what artists kind of struggle with right now, especially with, you know, all these social media platforms. Like we always have to be putting out content, which, I mean, whatever, that's a whole other conversation. But we were like, dude, we have a cool VHS. Like, why don't we just go out, spend a day together and just shoot whatever we want and then make it a music video? And that's exactly what that is. It's just kind of like, look, this is who we are. We're just like some dudes, like, you know, this is our song, but this is our video. We're spending a day here. We just grab our skateboards, we hang out. You know, we're blessed to, you know, have like nice views in Miami. So we got some of those shots, and then we just sat up in the pool of our condo. It's like a little grassy area. We brought this set, but I told the security guard, like, we're not actually playing. This is fake. We're just doing it for the video. And he was like, oh, okay. Like, you're good. But again, that's another long-winded answer to just say, I guess we were trying to kind of show, if I could put it into something a little bit more in depth, it's like, it's a contrast of like the song is kind of talking about something that's a little bit more deep rooted and, you know, critical in terms of like emotion. And then have like a lighthearted kind of, hey, this is just us type music video.
Yeah. And just curious, like, what's your studio energy like? Are you guys like more chaotic and free form when you're making music, or is it kind of like structured with like, okay, here's the plan?
And I kind of love that this is how we are, but we don't know what we're doing. I would say that we're actually kind of introverted, or at least I am. We all have different kind of knowledge of production in terms, because production is just a whole thing that, you can have a great idea, but it's a little bit more complicated to put it into like these, laptop softwares like Ableton or Logic or whatever.
Yeah.
So we'll all really just come up through ideas throughout the days and coming weeks, and we'll put it together, or on an off day, because, we all have jobs, we're juggling here and this and that. So it's almost kind of hard to make time for that. So I'll randomly hit the group chat and be like, guys, like just come over, or Dan, like, are you open? Let's go over there. And I mean, we'll just kind of sit there for hours and see what happens. We don't really have a structure. We kind of just welcome it to happen if it does. And if someone has like a really good idea, we're like, okay, let's do it. Like, let's get something together. Let's get together, whatever it is, even if it's for lunch or whatever, and we'll see what comes out.
Yeah, I feel like the authenticity comes through a bit more also when it's not like overly planned. I mean, not to say that when you overly plan something, it doesn't sound real, but you get like a sense of rawness there,
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm always curious about this, but do you ever write music that you know that you'll never release, like just for the hell of it, or just kind of like get something out of your system?
That's everything. Yeah. I think very early on, we started like just making music to make it. And then I personally look at it as, hey, like if we stay here for 6 hours and we come up with things that are not like appealing to anyone else, like that might be the best music then, because it's for us. We have like 300 like 8-bar loops, or like, oh yeah, we have a bunch of like beats and stuff like that, but we have probably within that archive like 300 different beats. There's like 100 in there that could be songs that we're just, we're freestyling, or some of them are serious, some of them are not. But yeah, we do make a lot of music with the intention of like not it being, I guess, again, for lack of better words, appealing to the public.
And what's really cool is that you guys definitely have like a blend of genres going on. So it's like indie, there's surf, there's like post-punk energy with an emotional core. So what are some of your like artistic, or artists aren't artistic, but your artist inspirations?
How much time do you have? I'm kidding.
A lot.
I think, so to give a little backstory too, like I come from electronic music production, actually, from like high school. So I was 15 years old. Like Skrillex was my idol, and he still kind of is in terms of production. I think he's a phenomenal like role model for someone who wants to get into production.
Yeah.
And somehow there I kind of drifted away. I wasn't finding as much, enlightenment, or it wasn't fulfilling for me anymore. And then I started playing. I've been playing guitar, but I wanted to see if there was a way to implement the program I was using to do live music. That happened. In terms of like artist inspirations, if I could speak on behalf of maybe Frank, I know he's not here. I know that he loves the Smiths, like adores the Smiths. And his uncle, he's like this cool TJ that like was in the scene back then, and he would like spin at like post-punk clubs and stuff like that. Dan now, because he's been writing with us pretty recently, like only just less than a year, and I wouldn't know what his favorite artists are, because he's very like multi-genre even with what he listens to. But I say that he's into like a lot of the classic shoegaze bands. And like kind of like Midwest emo, like, you have Title Fight, things like that. And I grew up on, also, just to blend it all together, I grew up on like Interpol and Arcade Fire, growing up, Surf Curse. Now I think we're all just conjoined huge fans of Surf Curse, and kind of like those beachy guys from San Diego. Like there's these other bands called Beach Goons, Mexican Slum Rats.
Oh yeah, I love them.
Bass Drum of Death too was a band that I was obsessed with, and then I came back to them and I've been re-obsessed with them. I think we all collectively really enjoy and are inspired, especially right now with what Turnstile is doing. So yeah, that was kind of like just a word vomit of a bunch of inspos, but I think you can kind of get the grasp of like the Cure, the Smiths, blending it with like the surfy music, and then with maybe some shoegaze kind of like woven in there too.
Yeah, for sure. And then kind of going all the way back to the beginning, like what's the story? So kind of a 2-part question. Where does the name come from? Like how did you guys land on this band name Camp Blue? And how did you guys all come together to like form the band? Like what's the backstory there?
Yeah, so Camp Blue, My mom actually made it, or she helped me come up with it.
Cool.
I was super into like R&B, like slow R&B, like the 2019 Omar Apollo. There was this artist I was obsessed with at the time called Puma Blue. So, not to give a spoiler there. And I would always show my mom the music, like, oh my God, I love this, I love it, blah, blah, blah. And then we were just kind of like, I don't know, I think she had like The Bachelor on, and I was like drinking wine with her, and she was like, blah, blah, blah. I was going through names like Suede Ghost, and my mom's like, absolutely not. Like, no, that's not going to work. And I'm like, okay, well, I give up. I don't know. And she's like, why don't you like do something with that guy, or like with the color, like you mentioned that other guy, which I just mentioned. And she's like, I don't know, maybe instead of using because it was gonna be like the blue or the blues or something like that.
Yeah.
You can like put camp in front of it, and it just clicked. I was like, Mom, you are.
And the Oscar goes
what?
to.
So I attribute the success of the name to her entirely. She helped us out there. But to address the second part, I guess the way we went together, or got all together, and it's been such a run. Seriously, we've been doing this now. I think we're heading into 3 years. We're like just the Camp Blue project. But I started releasing music again, kind of weave that electronic production thing in. I kind of left that. I was going through like a kind of a tough breakup. So I was trying to make music to like enchant, or try to, I don't know, whatever.
Like coping music or something, or angst music?
Yeah, like coping music that I would like put on SoundCloud, but coincidentally, if the person had come across it, like, hey, what's up, just like there was a method to the madness, I swear. And that was very slow. You can still see that music up on SoundCloud too. It's so different. And I intend to keep it that way, to like leave it up to really hear like what we started with and where we're at now. And then I remember I was just like burning myself out. I was making too many things, couldn't finish something. And then my friend Frank, which we go way back to like summer camp of like, we were 10 years old, maybe 9. And we had rekindled a bit, like, because we both skated. So he was like, yo, I'm back in Miami. Like, let's go skate. We skated. I kind of sent him a demo of one of the earlier songs, Madame Murder. He was like, dude, this is insane. What? Blah, blah, blah. And then I remember randomly, he sent me a video. Random. Like we hadn't even talked in like 3 or maybe even an entire month. And he sent me a video of him covering the bass of Reptilia by The Strokes.
Oh, that's cool.
And that just like sold me. I was like, wait, why don't we just like make this into a band? And from that day forward, Frank's been there. He's been like, he didn't even come from playing bass. He kind of just said like, hey man, this is a hobby I picked up. And I was like, dude, I mean, that's good enough for me. I don't know what I'm doing. So then Dan comes into the picture, I think like maybe 10 shows after. And that's a very key point here, because I wanted to like remain super secret and cool, like Daft Punk or like the early Gorillaz, like where they didn't really show their faces.
Yeah.
I couldn't cope with the idea of getting up on stage and like singing in front of people like that. I can't. There's no way. I'll vomit. I'll pass out. Like, there's no way. And as we're having that conversation, we get a DM from like she's a friend of ours now. She books. She doesn't live here anymore, but she was like, hey, you want to do a headlining show? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think I do. And me and Frank were talking about it, like back and forth. And we ended up doing it. Funny story. This is too much information. In that first show, which was actually what propelled us to start loving playing live. So I'm super thankful we actually did do it, and we just like fought through it. I threw up in my mouth mid-belt. Like
no.
Literally mid-belt. I threw up in my mouth, but like not in a way where it like came out. It was kind of just like I had a second to like turn around really quick. I was like, oh my God, this is not happening. It happened, and I had to do what I had to do. So, the show must go on. So I kept going. So that I don't know. I guess that was another way to just like say our first show experience. But then Dan came. We met him at a showcase at one of the hottest shows in Miami, probably. Like I'm talking about weather-wise.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there was only like maybe 30 people there, but I met him. Super cool kid. I loved his music. He was in a project called Beach Mirage. They played like this super psychedelic surf, like rock music, and I don't know. I was like infatuated with his music and like how he played guitar. And then we somehow, a couple months after that show that we initially met, we like exchanged Instagrams and stuff. We were changing our drummer and our guitarist.
Yeah.
And then we get booked to open up for one of our favorite artists at the time, this Ecstasy, this punk kid that's just like killing it. And he's coming to Miami, he's doing a show. The booker hits us up. Hey, you want to open the show? I am eating lunch. I go outside. I'm like borderline in tears. Like, yeah, duh. And then I just didn't have a guitarist or a drummer. So I DM'd him I said, hey, can I just like call you? Called him. He's down. From that day forward, he's been a part of it. We played every show with him. He helped us write. I don't know why, all the new music that's coming out now too, like he's been helping us. He just, from that kind of like downness to like, yes, no questions asked, I'll be there. And then he's been just riding with us since then.
That's cool. That's super cool.
Yeah.
But I'm also happy that you were able to power through that show experience.
Yeah.
I think I would have just left the stage.
No, it was, I mean, there was people that were like, you should have just like done it off stage. Everyone would have probably been like, dude, that's sick. But like, I'm like, dude, no, that's disgusting. I mean, either way is disgusting. But
Yeah. And then a bit of a fun question. So if you could time travel and open for any band in any era, like who would it be?
that's pretty loaded. Probably like those late 90s. This might be like a simple question. Like, I mean, a simple answer, but I was obsessed with Green Day, like 90s Green Day, like open up for them there. Dookie Green Day, I think that would be sick. And then any era too, I guess, even though Green Day, they're still so relevant, which is amazing. Yeah, I guess I'll stick with, like Dookie Green Day era.
And anyone like currently that is like on your dream list, like collab with or open up for?
This is just me. I wish the boys were on the call with me so they could kind of give their own, but mine is between two. But if I would narrow it down to one, it would probably be iDress.
I love him.
iDress there's nothing like him. I feel like we would mesh relatively well because he does a bunch of different genres, but he still has like that punky feel to it. So I would die if a booking agent was like, hey man, you want to just jump on this slot? It would take me like 24 hours to respond just because like I had passed out from that question.
Yeah. I'm a massive fan of his. And he also just seems like a cool dude, but like his aesthetic, the sound,
He's wholesome too. Like he's always family stuff. He's definitely one of the biggest inspirations currently, and even from back then that I'd be like,
He's been out for a long time as well. I didn't realize that because I only discovered him from the album where it's like there's like a cartoon character and he's like drinking a bottle of something. It's like the super colorful album. It has that song. It's like I've been in on the low. Do you know that? Yeah, that's like when I really first discovered him. But then I found out that he's been doing this. He's been in the game for like a very, very long time. But love his stuff. So what is a perfect, well, I guess it's only you here, but you can just pretend you can just speak on behalf of the band. Sure. What's a perfect Camp Blue day? Like from sunrise to sunset, like what's the vibe? What does the day look like?
Like anything.
Yeah.
Anything. Okay. Well, I'd hope that we would be in California and we wake up and go to grab like a super egregiously strong coffee. And then I'd hope that we'd have a little bit of money in our pockets. So we'd go for a little shopping spree, then go skate, and then go to the beach. This is primarily in the Venice area. And then after that, probably go to a little venue nearby, grab a drink or two, maybe a beer, and then go watch a homie show. Like, you know, hopefully like a band we'd become friends with. And then we just kind of like chillax, pregame a little bit, and go watch our homies play. Maybe at like the Echo or like the Palladium, or I forgot, the Rose Bowl, one of those cool venues. And then to me, that's just personally my favorite. Like that's the coolest day ever. Like buying clothes, skateboarding, drinking beer, going to the beach, and then watching your friend play. Yeah.
And the Echo is also a sick venue. I love the Echo.
Yeah.
It's chill. It's cool. And so like what's next on the agenda for you guys for this year? So I know you have this single, like do you guys maybe have an album coming out? Do you have some shows? Like what's next for you guys?
We have a song coming out tonight.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, tonight. Well, I guess 12 a.m. So tomorrow, I guess. And it's our second collaboration with a super good friend of ours called Mogi. We love Mogi. If you haven't heard of him, I would definitely recommend you check him out. He's from the UK.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, I think he's from the UK. And then that is waterfalling into our first actual EP, which is called Rooms I Forgot. And we're going to have 6 tracks on it. Yeah, so I don't know why it's going to be on there. The Bad Rot, which is coming out tonight, will be on there. And then the rest we'll drop all at once, but we were like waterfalling them. In terms of shows, we're kind of just stuck in the and keyword I say kind of stuck here in the Miami kind of Florida circuit, but we do have plans on visiting other states more often and kind of finally being able to respond to the promoters and stuff and be like, hey, we can finally like make it out and play. Primarily the Chicago shows and the Los Angeles shows. Hopefully by the end of the year, we'll be able to have been touched down and play, one or two shows over there.
Yeah. You guys definitely need to do a Europe show as well. I feel like your music would be so well received here. Surprisingly, like I know a lot of people associate Berlin with this like hardcore techno scene, but we definitely have like a really nice kind of underground punk indie alternative scene here. So we need to find you guys a booker so you guys can come over to Europe and have some shows.
I say this shamelessly, we're very thirsty right now for an agent. So, I mean, fingers crossed. But Berlin specifically, and I'm a nerd when it comes to analytics, like I shouldn't be looking at our stats as often as I do. But Berlin, if I'm not mistaken, is our third most listened to, like demographic, geographically speaking.
Yeah. A lot of the artists that I get targeted with from back home, they're super surprised when they're like, "You're in Germany. How do you know about our music?" But then, like you said, Germany is also their largest region. So yes, come on over.
Hopefully make that happen.
And then it's kind of a cliche question, but I like to always ask it. But what ultimately do you hope like users take away from listening to like Camp Blues music? Is it maybe a message or is it a feeling?
I mean, as someone who primarily deals with kind of, like I mentioned earlier, overstimulation and anxiety, I know that that's a common theme in music, but I would hope that someone can listen to something that, they relate with so much that would make them want to turn that into an art in a way. So whether that be, like songwriting or music production or just drawing or anything like that, I would hope that if you do listen to that, you feel not only heard, but then it inspires you into a way where you're like, damn, I would love to do something in regards to channeling my, whatever it is, might be like anxiety or, depression and all that you can channel that and make it into something artistic.
Yeah. Very cool. And yeah, I think they're like the main questions I had for you, but are there like any final words that you want to leave like the listeners and your fans with?
We are prioritizing getting out of the state of Florida. It is home. But we hope to, meet and kind of shake hands and mosh with as many people as possible within the next year. And if you do listen to our music, thank you so much. And we really couldn't have done it we continue to do it not only for ourselves, but for those who are also like relating to our music and listening. And, we see every DM and every single message. So we appreciate you, and not to be super gushy, but we do love you also.
Oh.